Ladies and gentlemen, here is an absolutely big one. I cannot believe that she is taking some time out of her very busy schedule here at the Performance Racing Industry Show in Indianapolis at the Indiana Convention Center. I have the Top Fuel Dragster European Champion here with us, Ida Zetterstrom. So Ida, first things first, where can people follow you? Where should they follow you? Because I will tell you this, I absolutely love her Instagram feed. It is so awesome. The people that do it and support her with that are on point. Keep up the great job. So where does everyone follow you?
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. So as you said, I'm doing a lot of things on Instagram. So on Instagram, of course, if you search for Ida Zetterstrom, you find me there. And otherwise, it's Dragster FIA.
What does that stand for?
That's a little funny because when I grew up, I raced junior dragsters. And in Swedish, we have kind of a word where my dad called me Dragsterfia, which was like the little girl that drives the dragster, kind of like that. And you know, when you turn 12 or something, you're doing your first Hotmail address, and it turned out to be Dragsterfia, and then I noticed that nobody else is using this name, so when I started creating accounts, I used it. And I used it on Instagram, and after a while, the Instagram grew so big, I couldn't change the name, because it was already, you know, printed on stuff, and it was in a lot of articles, and I just felt like I would have kind of liked to change it to my actual name, but it's a little late by now, because people know me at Dragsterfia or Dragster FIA on Instagram.
Are your parents still with us?
Yes, they are. So they're very involved. When I raced junior dragster when I grew up, my dad built me my first dragster. We started when I was 8, and they've always been around and helped with the racing part. Less now, of course, when I'm in Top Fuel, because I'm racing for a team. But this year they've been to most of the races, helped out with everything from hospitality, selling shirts, to everything that we have needed on that part. So they're definitely big racers.
And that's so wonderful that you still have your parents, right? Yes. And then the other part is that little girl that was drag racing became a Top Fuel Dragster champion, and they must be absolutely crazy about that, right?
Well, I think they see how much it means to me, and they also know I've been wanting to do it since I was a kid. I actually found recently a TV interview from Mantorp Park in Sweden when I was 10 years old, and they asked, so what's the future for you? And I said, I'm gonna drive Top Fuel when I'm 18, and then I turned 18 and I understood that you don't go to Top Fuel when you're 18 if you're not in some way have a ton of money or the absolute correct contacts for that. But for me, it took me 10 more years. I was 28 when I made it to Top Fuel, but I wouldn't change those 10 years, though I did a lot of other really fun stuff within the sport on those 10 years. So.
Yeah, and that was drag bike, right? So this is your first dragster championship.
Yes, so we won the Scandinavian or the Nordic championship in super street bike in 2019. Then COVID hit and we couldn't run the European series that we were gonna do, so we ran a Finnish series. So we won the Finnish championship in 2020, which was of course smaller than our victory in 2019. But in 2019 we were first female to win a championship on a super street bike, and I think we were the youngest too. So for us, it was a big move and something that I'm actually very proud of. So.
Yeah, that's really great. And so the lineage is there. You are absolutely impressive on the drag strip, and I can't wait to attend an event in Europe and actually watch you do your thing. And so this morning we had some big news with Leah Pruitt and Tony Stewart. So they announced a driver change. Yeah. And you know, when we engage in it as media and cover this sport so deeply, and we form these wonderful relationships with the wonderful drivers like you that risk it on every pass. You know, there's so much respect there. But then we start playing in our mind the game of chess, right? We always think about, boy, Ida would really do great in a dragster over here in the NHRA in America. She's such a wildly popular lady, and I hope and pray that you come to America someday and do amazing things. In that, do you have that as part of your goal structure?
Oh, absolutely. And I think I've been very vocal, especially in the last couple of years, that is what I want to do. And that is, for me, the move that I'm definitely working towards all the time. And European racing is absolutely fantastic. Everybody that does it there does it by pure passion. And we are actually running really quick and really fast for what we have, I mean, we have a very limited schedule if you compare it to NHRA schedule. So for us, I did 8 events this year. 6 of them was races, and the other was exhibition runs. But we ran really.
You guys are running great times. I mean, and I was struck by that as an American watching it, going, these folks are in the neighborhood, and that is so awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, you should also remember then that of course we have less track time, we don't have as much testing,
Exactly.
It's harder for us to collect that data. The tracks aren't prepped the same way, the tracks aren't used the same way as most of the tracks over here are, which means that we're working with a different baseline basically, and most of the teams, they are running a lot of used parts. Nothing wrong with that, but usually teams over here, they make a few passes on their things and they go on to new parts, while we pick up those pieces and we run it over in Europe. And of course there's different reasons for this, one of them being that of course we have lower budgets in Europe than the teams over here do, but also because our tracks aren't usually as good as the tracks over here, so we don't always need that extra power that the guys over here produce by always using top products, because sometimes it's harder to go down track with too much power, and it's actually easier to get down if you have just a little bit less. So it's a tiptoe around all of that to try and get a combination that works. But I've been running for RF Motorsport in Europe this was my second full year in the Top Fuel Championship. And Rune has been doing it for so many years. I mean, we're talking 40, 45 years in nitro racing, and he knows what he's doing. He has 3 cars in competition, and we have been really strong. And I think that it's a really fun group of guys to work with over there too, because we're talking guys that aren't paid to come and work on the car. They do it just because they love it. Fly in, we live on air mattresses in the trailer, and we do this, and to compete on the level we have been doing, looking at that is very impressive. But then of course, I mean, you mentioned coming over here, of course that is what you want to do, because if you look at it there, it's still a hobby level in Europe, and I want to race as much as possible. I want to be out there as many times as I can, first of all because I really love it, but also second of all because I want to be the best driver I could possibly be. And to do that, you need more seat time, more track time, more people around you that could always, guide you in the direction to be better. And I think that's what NHRA offering over here. So
It all drives back to sponsorships, right? I mean, and you have some great sponsors. I mean, it's like absolutely nuts. Edelbrock, right? I mean, that's an amazing sponsor that any drag racer over here would absolutely die for. And so you have to have the sponsorship, you have to have the viewership, you have to have your social media rolling and rocking. All of these sponsors are looking at the numbers, okay? And when Ida was walking down the hallway, coming here to sit down and chat with us, she was stopped by a group of people, it put a big smile on my face, because not only has she won me as a fan, but she also has a bunch of fans here at the PRI, and that has to really warm your heart, right? So now, Ida, I want you to list your sponsors, okay, from top to bottom, because I feel that's so important that all of the drivers do that every possible time they can. So list them from top to bottom.
yeah, well, of course, I've had my main sponsor this year has been Edelbrock. And that's also something that's really cool for me, because growing up in the garage, my dad has had a shop working on American cars and building performance engines and so on. So there's been Edelbrock boxes there since I was a little kid. So for me to work with an iconic brand like that, it feels very big for me, and I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of the work we've been able to do together. And of course with Edelbrock, also comp cams and everything under the Edelbrock group umbrella. And of course we use comp cams in the Top Fuel, and we know that the performance that gives, and that's also a thing for me to actually run with products that you believe in and to work with sponsors that you believe in and are proud of, and that's definitely something we've been able to do there. And then one of my big sponsors this year has been KW, or Clean Brain Way Group, and KW have 2 big sides of them. They're KW Parts that are they're the largest seller of American car parts in Europe. So they work a lot on the business-to-business side, but they also have a company called DriveZone that is business-to-customer that sells American car parts over in Europe and mostly Scandinavia. And they're very, very big at what they do, very good at what they do. But they also have KW Auto, which is a company that sells cars, and the main importer of Dodge and Ram for Europe. And that's also one of the reasons why I was able to get in touch with Dodge and start working with them. I haven't had Dodge as a sponsor on the car, but I've been a Dodge ambassador for this year, and we have done a lot of cool things together. So like the Dodge In or Out series that they have on their official Dodge YouTube channel has been really cool to do. I've gotten to see some fantastic places and drive some amazing cars. I've had a Hellcat SRT this year as my own car, and yeah, it's a dream to drive it. It's a car that, you know, you just love it every time you sit in it, and you get to have that as a daily. It's been fantastic. So those are some of the biggest companies I've had with me this year, but also M-Strand. So on my car you see mstrand.ax, and that is a company that's actually been with me since I started. So since the day I started racing bikes, so on a semi-professional level, if we say it like that, they have been a part of it. And some years they've been bigger, some years, this year they were a little smaller than they were last year. But when I came into Top Fuel, they were my main sponsor, and they were the ones that believed in me the most, that I could do it, and gave me that chance at kind of taking my license and taking that step forward. And I'm forever grateful for that. So mstrand.ax is, there's an area where I live in Åland that's called M-Strand. So it's they do construction, and this area is the built apartment complex, houses and warehouses and so on. And the reason why they are getting smaller on my car is that the area is fully built. So this year was the last year that they were promoting that they had something to sell there. And we have had great success with them to try and, you know, promote what they are offering, and they have made good sales through us, and it's also something I'm proud of. So yeah, I'm very happy for the years I've had together with them. And then we have, of course, others, some smaller sponsors, local sponsors like Mekonomen Åland, that is a really good company on the small island where we live that sells car parts and basically everything you need for your automotive needs over there. And they're really great guys, really great to work with, so I'm really proud to have worked with them. And Knegarn is a company on our small island that sells work clothes, so they have helped us out. So we have had blåkläder, clothes for all the guys on the team. We've all been very well equipped and yeah, had a great season. So those are some of the biggest that has been with me for the full season this year, and yeah, I'm very, very grateful to all of them.
Yeah, and so as you can see, right, you need to sign on with Ida. She's absolutely going to do the best possible job for your company. So reach out to her and sponsor her. Okay, so we met Ida this year at the World Series of Pro Mod. Yeah. And then I'm so thankful that I knew who you were before that event and was able to walk up to you on almost a recognizable basis and form this relationship. When you were there, you were speaking quite a bit with Antron Brown. Do you feel, I really believe that you must envision yourself at the next level, right? Then you become the next level. Do you feel that interaction with Antron will mentally carry you to that next level?
I have to say,
And how special was that? It must have been a special event, right, for you?
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of days prior, I'd talked to Antron on the phone for an hour, so we have had some contact before that too, and not just Antron. I have to say a lot of the drivers in NHRA, Top Fuel and Funny Car, and also other classes have been very helpful to me and helped me in kind of a mentoring way to try and, you know, make it over here. And I get really happy seeing that there's other drivers and not just drivers, but people working on teams over here that, you know, just can say to you that I don't have a spot for you, but anything I can do to try and help you get over here because I want to see you over here, that warms me, and that also shows me that there's a spot for me over here. So of course, Antron has been fantastic to talk to, and also Mike Salinas has been really helpful with a lot of things, and also guided me in the right direction of many things, and I'm very thankful for that. And of course also his daughter Jasmine and Gianna too, and Gianna is in bikes and same as me, and also Jasmine moving up to Top Fuel next year, very cool. So there's been a lot of those driver interactions that have meant a lot to me, and there's just many in this industry right now, in both in the pro classes I would say, and also some of the others that just show that they want to see someone come over from Europe and do this in the pro classes, and for them to tell me that they want me to be the one that does that, it definitely means a lot. So.
Your relationship with me, Ida, means a lot, and we are so thankful for that. And thank you for taking some time out of your schedule. We've spent exactly 18 minutes on this, and we've taken her 13 minutes over what we wanted to do. We wanted to bring her in, show you this wonderful lady, and then send her back out to the PRI floor where she needs to be, generating relationships and generating potential new sponsors. So I can't thank my sponsors enough, Braille Drag Racing, and also AED for sponsoring my appearance here at the PRI. I really appreciate you. Ida, thank you once again. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, just thank you. And I mean, running over time, that's on me. When there comes to racing, I can talk for a long time, so sometimes I get carried away. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day and have a great PRI, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Ida. You're amazing.